What is up, everybody? It's Mr. Saturn here, back with another Pokemon Sun and Moon new Pokemon competitive analysis, and this time I am here analyzing Salandit. Now, Salandit is the toxic lizard Pokemon. It has the typing of Poison and Fire, which is kind of mediocre considering that it's going to take a quarter damage to rocks every time it comes in, and it's going to be taking 4 times effectiveness to Earthquake, which is really bad. And it has the ability Corrosion. Now let me read what this ability does for you guys real quick. Salandit has the Corrosion ability, a new ability that no other Pokemon has possessed before. With the Corrosion ability, it becomes possible to inflict the Poison status condition even on Steel and Poison type Pokemon. Okay, so what that leads us to is that this Pokemon is pretty much going to be a stall breaker. This ability may seem like it's kind of it's kind of niche at first, but when you really think about it, there are a million switch-ins to Toxic. When it's really telegraphed when you're gonna throw out a Toxic, certain Pokemon, it's their only move to deal with certain other Pokemon, so you can just throw out, a Heatran or another Steel type or a Poison type, and it doesn't matter, it's not gonna get poisoned. But with this thing, anything that you throw a Toxic at is going to get Toxic. And keep in mind that when you use Toxic on a Poison type Pokemon, it is 100% chance to land. So if you throw out a Toxic from this thing, anything is going to get Toxic. Now, I'm hoping that this isn't its final form, just because this thing looks kind of weak. It has a little bandit thing, but it's only 2 feet tall. Actually, 2 feet's not that small for a Pokemon, and 10.6 pounds isn't that small for a Pokemon. So this might be its final form. I'm kind of hoping it's not, because it kind of reminds me of Crocodile, and I really like Crocodile's design. So I hope that this thing can evolve into something, pretty good. That's not to say that I don't like the design of this Pokemon. I think this Pokemon's design is awesome. Now, one of my biggest hopes, and this probably is not going to be true, is that this Pokemon, I'm pretty sure it's going to have access to Toxic Spikes, but one of my biggest hopes is that when it throws out Toxic Spikes, the game remembers that Salandit threw out Toxic Spikes, so anything that comes in on the Toxic Spikes is going to get poisoned. Now, this is a really big stretch, but I mean, with the crazy abilities that Pokemon Sun and Moon is giving us, I think that this could be a possibility. And this is huge, because that means a Toxic Pokemon or a Poison type Pokemon coming in on Toxic Spikes isn't going to be able to absorb the Toxic Spikes. They will just get poisoned instead. And a Steel type Pokemon coming in on Toxic Spikes is going to get poisoned. The only thing that are going to be immune to Toxic Spikes, if this is true, is a Flying type Pokemon. Now, to be honest, I don't think this is how it's going to be, because that would be kind of broken. But you can only have hope for these kind of things, and this is just all speculation. These Pokemon haven't been uncovered yet. We still have to wait until November to see them in the full-fledged game. But I think this is a really cool Pokemon, and I want to use it, and I want to use it competitively. So my hope for it is that they give it a good spread, they give it a good move pool, and that they give it an evolution. So on the attacking side, this thing has a pretty good typing with Fire and Poison. Fire deals with, Grass types, Ice types, Steel types. Steel types is the really big one, and Bug types. Okay, so Steel and Bug are the 2 real big ones, because right now you're running Hidden Power Fire on a lot of Pokemon just to deal with the Steel Bug and Steel Grass types running around, like Ferrothorn and Scizor. And there's also the Poison type to hit the Fairies hard. So what I like to see this thing get is, a fast speed stat and a decent special attack stat. The reason I say a fast speed stat is because this thing is probably going to be a spiker. I mean, it might have access to regular spikes as well as Toxic Spikes, which would be pretty interesting running dual spikes on a Pokemon. But if it has a high speed stat, it can just throw out some spikes and not have to worry about getting killed before. And then you have spikes up for pretty much the remainder of the game, unless your Pokemon has a Poison type Pokemon, which, as I said before, if it does work as I would hope it would work, then you pretty much have Poison spikes up until they get defogged away or span away. I also hope it gets a decent special attack stat, just because it probably will have access to Sludge Bomb and things like Fire Blast and Flamethrower. These moves hit really hard, and they hit a lot of things that are very tanky, like I said, like Ferrothorn and Scizor. And one of the biggest things is if it has a decent special attack stat, this hits Clef. And Clefable is a really big problem in OU right now. It kind of just sits there and eats up hits and just sets up and does whatever it wants, because it it's really hard to kill. You pretty much need a poison type or a steel type to kill this thing. That's why I run Jirachi on all my teams. That's why I run Scizor on all my teams, or either one of those on all my teams, because that thing, if you don't have a good steel type to deal with it, it will set up on you, and it will just disrupt your whole game plan. So with a good poison type running around, I would hope that it could do some damage to Clefable, and we'll stop seeing that monster running around so much. But yeah, that's pretty much my thoughts on Salandit. And if you guys have any other thoughts, be sure to leave them in the comment section below. If you guys like this type of video, be sure to subscribe because I will be doing more of these. And until next time, I will see you guys later. Peace. Tell everybody to like and subscribe. Tell them.